Thank you for tuning into Soul Food with Flex. Now, I'm really honored to have our guest with us today. If you could just introduce yourself, Us.
Hey guys, my social media, you guys know me as the real BDFS, but my name's Cam Bernard from West Auckland. So what's up? Shout out to Flex and for having me on. Really appreciate it, Us.
Nah, the honor's mine, bro. Just behind your name, where did you, can you explain the story as to why you call yourself that?
Okay, so the name actually, like, I wanted to be a saxophone player.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like actual?
Actual.
Oh,
So,
wow.
Growing up, I always wanted to play the saxophone, and I had that name, and I thought it was like a cool jazzy blues kind of name. And then, when I jumped on social media, that kind of just went.
Man,
So it's actually, yeah.
I would have had no idea that you were interested in playing the sax, to be honest.
Or straight up, man.
Oh, so you have a musical background, is it?
Not so much, but my wife's family they're very musical, musical family. So I've always been brought up around music, but never really, like, not singing as such, but yeah, I learned how to play instruments as a kid.
Oh, that's cool.
Like self-taught.
That's mad. Like what, piano or?
Nah, like guitar, bass, like that. Yeah.
Mm. Were you ever involved in like church band or?
Nah, never, bro. I've always been low key, just
Yeah.
My own kind of thing.
Oh, those guys, they just at the party and then low key. Cam, can you play the?
Oh, you mean
What the low key ones? Oh,
sorry, guys, I didn't come prepared. But
oh, that's mad. No, but funny, man. So wait, you're from West Auckland, right?
yeah, born and raised West Auckland, man.
Yeah. So a lot of us hear a lot about the South. It's well documented what the South gets up to. What can you tell us what it was like to grow up in West Auckland?
Man, so, it's probably like South A. When you grow up somewhere, it's like home.
Yeah.
And like for me, West Auckland growing up, man, like it depends on what your lifestyle is like. As a kid, growing up, it was go out kawhao in the bushes, play with with your other mates on the streets, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But bro, it was good, man. The lifestyle, and that as a kid growing up, like the street that I lived on, we knew the families, right down the crescent. But like I don't see too much of that today. Like I don't even know my neighbors.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely.
What I mean?
Definitely.
Compared to, we had the Browns next door, and like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Hard.
Yeah.
I definitely understand that. Yeah. I grew up the same. Like everyone on the street knew each other, and especially like those touch on the street ones until the lights went on. And
that's it, man.
Yeah, that sort of style of living.
And that's how it was.
Gone. Yeah. But like so the whole theme of the show, to be honest, is to change the narrative on Polynesians. Obviously, you saw the video. And, it's something that I'm really passionate about, and it was I felt it when I was messaging you, because just for everyone listening, I don't know Cam personally, so I reached out to him via Instagram and told him about the vision of this podcast, and he was just he gracefully like messaged back like, no one's a stranger amongst us, and I'm really keen
100%.
100% keen to get on the podcast and share So like, what are some things that you've seen personally behind us being misunderstood as a people?
You see it everywhere, like even at work.
Yeah,
You know, for example, it's never like you kind of never given the chance to um, say excel past, you know, like you're always the guy on the ground,
yeah,
right? And it's always Sione will work overtime. He always works overtime, you know. But it's never like I don't like to work overtime, you know. But I got things to do at home, work stuff. But then because we growing up, we don't want to let our bosses down and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
so we go, okay, yeah, I'll work late, and stuff like that. And we're always seen as like, yeah, just like, oh, give it to Cam, he'll do it. He always
Yeah.
does it, kind of thing.
No,
And I think we're more than that. If given the chance.
I had a chat with Regan, just the norms, and
Yeah, Regan.
yeah, and well, I spoke about Auckland, but South Auckland, but I guess Auckland as a whole has a negative stigma with it, and I just wanted to get
Bro,
your
100%.
your opinion on that.
That's changed over the years. Like, but I guess that happens everywhere with society. As society changes, so does the culture, so to speak. Like I don't know, kids today take a lot of things a lot more literally, as opposed to what we did back then. And then it kind of portrays itself on the streets, kind of thing. Yeah,
Yeah,
but all in all, Auckland's not bad. It's you get your few bad apples, but doesn't mean the whole tree is bad. You know what I mean?
definitely, definitely.
And I think that's a lot of people look at South Auckland like that. And like I remember growing up, that was the stigma. It was always west, south, west, south. West is a beautiful place to grow up, and ooh, look at South Auckland, look at
Yeah,
Otara, look at Papatoe, and stuff like that. And but I love the way how South Auckland, um, they took it upon themselves and say, yeah, man, that's my city. I'll own it. It may be like this, but I'm gonna make a change for my area. You know, and they, put that on their back and they ran with it. And look how beautiful it's become now. Look at how many names have come out of South Auckland. Sports players, rappers, musicians, all of that. Look at it. It's flourished, and it's beautiful to see.
yeah, definitely. I was speaking to Regan a lot about this, and how the media and even people themselves, they speak down on South Auckland, but there's so much positivity coming out of there. There's so much talent, and especially with us polys, there's a lot of talented people that come out of South Auckland, despite
Yeah,
what's portrayed about that place.
yeah.
Um,
And what I love about it is that they've used that negativity and they've proven everybody wrong. You know,
yeah,
they've,
100.
they've had the rough upbringing. They've had, they've come from nothing. And look at where they are now, kind of thing.
Yeah, definitely. Tell us more about your upbringing. I'm really like interested um, in how what forms the people that we see today. Because no, like I said, I love your social media and I love your skits. Like, where does that come from?
Well, it comes from upbringing, and like I grew up with a family of five, four brothers and one sister, and we weren't your average Samoan family. Sorry, excuse me.
Yeah,
Um, a lot of my mates and that they grew up in the church and stuff like that, where we kind of did, but it wasn't, you know, top of the
Yeah,
list.
like a general fob family would,
Yeah,
the Samoan
yeah,
family would.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So, you know, like I'll go to my mate's house and, you know, there's the, you know, fellas on the ground and, you know, the Last Supper on the wall, stuff like that. So, you know,
yeah.
we that wasn't us, you know,
Yeah,
but my parents were strict. Every like my like we had to be home, you know, just like every other, you know, when the lights are
yeah.
on
Let's
the
get
street,
on.
yeah,
Okay.
you get your ass home kind of thing, yeah.
Yeah,
But I think growing up strict like that was a good thing. Um, like I loved it. Like a lot of people say, um, like all the hidings and stuff that we got back then, you know, when it was, you know, kind of allowed.
yeah.
Yeah.
Allowed.
Um, you know, I thought it was good for us, you know, but I can't say that today for the kids today. Like I can only speak on, you know, what it was like for us back then. But it turned me into somebody who I am today, which is, you know, respectful, you know, kind of things like that. But
No, I
yeah,
totally understand that. Totally understand that. What was it like growing up with your siblings? Are you close today? Were you close or?
well, we're always tight and we're still tight today. And that's what I love about like my family. Because I don't know about you or your siblings and that, but we have, you know, our own humor amongst each other. And then when we're out, the humor's kind of different.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
absolutely.
Because if I tell a joke to somebody else that only my brothers and my sister would understand, you know, they wouldn't kind of
Yeah,
understand. And that's, I love that about my siblings and that's what you see in my skits and that.
yeah,
And I mean, it was tough, like because I'm the second oldest. Back then, I felt like I was always under my brother's shadow,
yeah,
stuff like that. And but that's just, you know, your typical sibling rivalry kind of thing. But
definitely.
it definitely brought us closer together as we got older.
No, it's good
Yeah.
to hear that you still have a strong relationship with your siblings, eh?
Some of it's to do with because they're over in Melbourne and that distance thing. And, you know, since my old lady passed, you know, you kind of rely on your siblings a lot more.
My condolences, Us, for
I
your,
appreciate those.
your mother. Can you tell us what it was like getting raised by your queen there? What was your mother like?
Man, she's she was my everything, bro. Like, and just like yourself, you know, like mums mums are always the best, man. Like mums will be the lifesaver, you know, save you from getting a hiding from the old man, or, you know, mum just knew, you know, like mum mums know where the remote is when you can't find it, kind of thing, you know.
It's the small
Like,
things there.
bro, the small things, man. You know, like, mum, was the remote? Did you look behind the couch? Look behind the couch, and there it is. You know, uh, the food, man. Like when I cook stuff today, or, you know, it's like, man, you know, mum made it a certain way, kind of
Yeah,
thing. You know, and yeah, mum definitely like allowed me to bring out the softer side of me, and, you know, but yeah, you can't compare a mother's love, man, for sure.
most definitely. Shout out to all the
Yeah,
mothers out there doing their
100.
thing. It's in society you're undervalued, which is sad
Yeah,
to see, but you know, there's a
like I remember growing up, you know, like watching my dad always go to work, and mum was the stay-at-home, look after the kids, kind of thing. And that's all you saw. You saw that with your aunties, you know, and, you know, growing up. But today, you know, like it's like women have a voice now, and which is a great thing, you know,
yeah,
great thing to see. they're starting, you see women owning businesses and stuff like that, which is awesome,
100. Yeah, 100%.
For everything you see in me is all from my parents, and like especially my mom, like um like I don't want to say like harp on about myself, but like my kindness, my humor, like the relationship I had with my mum is like my best mate. Like I would tell my mum jokes and stuff, and like tell her what I got up to at parties and stuff like that. And my mum was like, "You just make sure you're safe and blah blah blah."
Yeah,
And then I'll tell her stories about like these fights that happen and blah blah blah. Like I would tell my mum everything, you know, and that's what I loved about my old lady. She never judged me you know for anything. She always supported me in whatever I wanted to do. Um, and like going back to like culture and stuff like that. Like my old lady, she would say to us with like "falavelavas" in it. Whenever something came up with the family, my old lady would say, "It'll stop at me. My kids won't be involved. I don't want that pressure on my kids. So it'll stop at me. I'll pay for it and do all of that."
man. Uh, Sounds like a really wonderful woman that you were raised, that was raising you, also.
Oh, definitely, man. It's yeah,
Oh man, I love that. That's what I love about your skits. It brings to life memories that I definitely cherish. Those the
yeah,
hijinks, the awkward the awkward
yeah.
conversations you have with your dad, and
Oh
man,
man.
that's what I
Well, like
love.
you see, like doing all of that, and I show my old man my skits, and
Well, yeah, I was gonna ask you, does he see
yeah,
these things?
bro, he laughs, man. Like he like pisses himself laughing. Like I swear to God.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? And he was going, "Son, send it to me. I want to show my mates. I want to show my
Oh
mates." And I'm
man,
like, man, and bro, it's that that in itself, like that's the only comment that I needed. You know, like I may get 300, comments, but I only need that one comment from my old man to say,
that's awesome, man.
man, that was funny.
That's something big with us. Polynesian males. We because we always get that validation from our mothers. They support us 100%, but it's so hard. Like I know for myself, every day was a struggle to just hear like I was fighting for my dad to say I'm proud of you and what you're doing.
100%, 100%. And I understand where you're coming from. Like I said before, like growing up, under my older brother's shadow, and trying to compete with him, like it sucks. Like my parents used to always go to my older brother's games and it, and if they
Oh,
had time, then they would come and see my games, and the point, where I tried really hard to, make these teams and, you know, try different sports to see if they would come, and it kind of never did come. So I gave it all up. And then I turned to like gangs, I turned to alcohol, rebel, stuff like that, So I never really got that, look at me, dad, or look at me kind of thing,
no, definitely understand that.
Yeah.
So you mentioned like gangs and alcohol. Like, was it just a short stint in your life, or
Um, yeah, probably about a good 7 years, 7 years of my life.
7 years?
Um,
That's like dedicating your life to that sort of lifestyle.
yeah. So like it changed really quick. Probably um, my last few years during school, um, and I turned to, so I pretty much wagged my last year of senior for about a whole year, and I got away with it,
Yeah,
and I just never went back to school, started wagging school, stealing, doing drugs, alcohol, hanging out with wrong people,
yeah,
stuff like that. But that was also I could be noticed, you know what I
yeah,
mean? And that's the only thing it came down to for me.
yeah. So, and that's something that I definitely want. I want to go deeper into why we do things that we do as Polynesians, because a lot
Yeah,
of people see, the violence and they see these behaviors, but they don't understand. You know,
yeah,
having your parents' validation is one of our biggest goals in life as a Polynesian, to be honest.
yeah,
And so,
100%.
when you're not getting those things, we turn to these things.
Yeah, for sure. We like we just want to be apart, you know. We um and things like you remember back at school, like you go to PE
Yeah,
and teacher goes, all right, two teams. All right, you pick first and then the other guy. And then it's always, yeah, I want him, and then I want him, and then I want him. Can you imagine being the last person?
yeah,
And that's what it feels like a lot of the time being a Polynesian. It's we're left with that guy, and you kind of left wondering, well, why wasn't I picked first? I've got these this skill set, and all of this, and on this and that. Why wasn't I picked like that? It's stuff like that kind of messes with our head.
yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
and like yeah, like I said before, like all we want to do is just feel a part of something, and like like you said, that validation, and
Yeah,
when we don't get it, you know, we always fall off fall off the rails kind of to try and get that attention, whether it's good or bad, you know.
yeah,
And the time it's always bad, unfortunately.
yeah. But like, it's good to see though, despite you going off that to a different path, you're here now. You're making this positive content, which I'm sure that a lot of people benefit from. I know I speak for myself. Like you might not know, but like as human beings, we have hard days, and so like I work in retail. I'll deal with our customers, and then I'll come home. I bring that with me, and then like I'll watch a video of yours, and it just instantly just brings me back to a childhood memory, and there goes that stress.
Yeah,
So
man, it's amazing how something that small can affect someone like you and me. You know, it pulls on certain heartstrings because it takes you back to that childhood where you feel like, man, I relate to that because you know everything that happened that was me, you know, and sometimes it brings up other memories like if I had done this, maybe my old man or my old lady would have done something like that, but that is what it is, kind of thing.
yeah, it's funny though because in those moments, the moments that you're portraying in the moment that it's happening, it's difficult to deal with. Like dealing with a hard brother, like one of
Yeah,
your skits here. Like me and my older brother, it was really difficult to deal with him at times, like because I was the
yeah,
little brother, and so. But then, and you want that moment to pass, but now it's past. You just want to go back.
100%, man, 100%. I always think like that, eh?
Yeah,
Like especially with my older brother, like I always talk to him about, bro, you remember back in the day when, like, we did this and that. And remember when dad gave me the hoodie?
yeah,
Why did you knock on me?
yeah, yeah.
Stuff like that. And to find out his reason for that, and you just laugh about it today, like, man, what are ball bags?
Yeah, man. and like yeah, that I only just like recently started talking to my older brother about things like because yeah, he's one of those older brothers like real shut off, and
Yeah,
so I never knew what was going on in his mind, and so I'm
yeah,
really grateful. I'm really grateful for my older brother now that we have this relationship that we can talk about. I remember that time dad told you
yeah,
to drag me into the room and you did. What'd you do?
yeah, yeah. But it's so good, man. Like looking back, I can't see why like siblings wouldn't have that kind of relationship.
Yeah,
You know, it's like, man, like me and my brothers, like we just hit it off like straight away every time, man. And I kind of think back, it's just childish stuff that we did back then, but it's it's good that it happened. It makes us
yeah,
the people that we are today.
definitely, definitely. So, well, what are their thoughts on your skits and things that you do on social media?
And like a lot of the time when I'm recording, so I come up with an idea, right? And then I'll put it down on paper and I'll read through it and then I'll start it out on the camera. But the thing with me is like I'm a perfectionist and it's a downfall, but then it's also good because you guys get to see the perfection side of it.
Yeah,
Whereas for me, sometimes I could do a 15-minute video, that's all it takes. And other times it'll take me like 2-3 hours, because it's always, no, I didn't like it. Delete, start again, delete, stuff like that. But yeah, and then like I'll I'll put it all together, and but it's crack up because when you act out these moments, it's like, man, Dad, like he kind of imprints this thing in me,
yeah,
in my head that I don't know how to explain it, but yeah, shucks,
So are you like literally putting yourself in your father's shoes when you're doing those things?
100%, and that's like the downside of being a perfectionist. It's like you you put everything into that 1 minute video, like all your energy and your everything. Like for me, I put in everything. So like, and that's including time in that, time away from my kids, like if you see in all of my videos, like everything's done at nighttime because put all my kids to bed and all of that, and then I do all my skits, and then by that time it's like 1:30, 2 in the morning, and then go to sleep, get ready for work. But yeah, so yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I was talking to Reeks about that, like how for us as the consumer of the product, we
yeah,
just have to go on the phone and click your profile, click the
yeah.
skit, and that's it. How do you deal with putting so much energy into your craft and then maybe someone doesn't appreciate it or someone has something negative to say about the content?
Man, I love the negativity. Like,
Jeez.
no,
Come
to be
at me.
honest, no, I love it because it corrects. It makes me think about what I can do different next time. You know, like obviously you can't please everybody.
Yeah, different.
But like I take it into consideration, and if it pops off on my next video, then it does. But I don't take it to heart or too serious because uh man, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, no, definitely. So, how supportive is your wife towards your skits and everything? No, 'cause-
Or she just runs with it, eh? Like she's like she's my number one supporter.
oh, I
The
love that,
same with
man.
my kids, and that but like she's just real shy. I ask her, oh, can you, be a part of my skit? She's like, oh, no, that's, you do your thing. I'm good. I'll support you from the back, kind of thing. But yeah, they're 100% supportive of what I do and stuff.
No, that's
But
awesome.
they just see it as normal, like
Yeah,
dad's just being a clown.
yeah. No, yeah, so is because I watched the interview of Martin Lawrence. I don't know if you know who Martin Lawrence is.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah,
you know who Martin Lawrence is.
yeah.
So when he does the shows and everything, he has this personality, but he's said it himself. That's not really him. So is that you? Be like when you're in your day to day life.
Yeah,
That's you.
that's me.
Oh, I
Yeah.
love that.
Like doing these skits, it's good for me as a person because it's hard to believe, but like I'm like a real introverted person. Um, like it takes a bit to get to the inside of me, you know. Well, it did take a bit to, I had to talk to you, for ages, get to know you and that before I let you inside, my circle kind of thing. Whereas now these skits help me to come out and show you the real me, you
Yeah,
know. And it's a good thing because when you see it, it's like, man, that is exactly me,
yeah,
like that, you know, I lived through that, and so, and that's what people want to see, that realness kind of thing.
yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, because I follow a lot of people who do skits, but they're from America, so they portray things that happen in the hood and
Yeah,
things like that. So a lot of the comments are like people that can relate to that. So
yeah,
I'm really happy that it makes me really happy to see our people portraying our stories in the realest way possible.
100%, 100%. Because like we said earlier, we always get portrayed as, you know, something that we're not, you know, even though, we didn't have everything that that person has, like a boat, a batch, stuff like that. We still have good memories of living a good life or living a good childhood, you know?
Absolutely, and that's something that me and my siblings and our cousins as well. Having our cousins around and we talk about the struggle and talk about like having the tomato sauce sandwiches. Those sort of those moments are those things I wouldn't trade for anything.
Or a
'Cause,
hundred.
yeah,
And it's good that we struggled then, as opposed to struggling now. Because
yeah,
if we didn't struggle back then we wouldn't know how to kind of, survive if you know what I mean.
no, definitely, definitely,
So that was a good part of our lives that I think is, yeah, that had to happen.
yeah, absolutely. I think about that every day when I'm at work and things like that. I never want to go back to like
Yeah,
as much as I cherish those moments. I never want to go back to having
100%.
to think about the financial side of life.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, and it's a good motivation,
Yeah, absolutely.
uh, coming from struggle. You want to stay well away from that, and you want to kind of teach your kids those values and stuff as well.
Yeah. So as a father, how do you because you can't walk them through the struggle. So how do you help your children be grateful for living the lifestyle that they do live now?
Or like how I grew up, I bring my kids up the same. We never had technology and that back then, and so if they're acting up, obviously I can't smack them, so I'll just take off, you know,
Yeah,
the technology or stuff like that, and I make them learn the hard way, kind of thing, just to instill um, you know values that shouldn't go under what do you call it, under. oh, you know, like I don't want to get them to miss out on those values
Yeah,
that I had growing up. Yeah,
absolutely. And those values are more important than having any materialistic things in
yeah, for
life.
sure.
Yeah,
So like my kids, they like all their old toys. I tell them to get all their old toys together and to bring it in. We'll chuck it in the car, and we'll take it to the salvos.
yeah,
And I'll get them to take it in, so they understand that it's going. You know, not all kids can have toys and stuff
yeah,
like that. You know, so I want them to like find the value in giving toys to someone that you know, needs it, or you know, wants to have the same happiness you had with the toys, and they want to have, you know, have
yeah.
you have the same.
Absolutely. Oh, that's awesome. No, that's awesome that you do that because it would literally give them a portrayal of the real life. That not every kid is fortunate enough to have the things that we have today.
Yeah, 100%, bro. And even stuff like, you know, eating out at McDonald's and that. Like I let them know that that's a treat. You know, it's not a everyday thing because you know, like daddy has to work hard, you know, and spend his money wisely. And so I make sure that they see all of that. And as young as my kids are, my oldest boy is 8 and my youngest is 1. I let them on, I let them in on all our family decisions because I make them feel a part, like their voice matters in this family. You know, and that's something that I never had growing up.
Thanks.
And that's what I want my kids to have today. I want them to know that their voice matters.
No, I
So
love the
like,
day because
yeah,
growing up, yeah, it sounds like I grew up, similar to you. Like as soon as the adults were gonna have a conversation, it was kind of like, yeah, go to the back now.
yeah, yeah,
But it's funny because it happens for such a long time, and then it's almost overnight. You're like, okay, you're sitting at the table now. You're part of the decisions, but you had
mm,
no lead up to, no insight on
yeah,
how to lead a family, how to make a decision for
yeah.
the benefit of a family. So you just like, okay, I'm at the table now. What do I do?
That's right.
So that's
And
also that you're teaching me.
do you think if we had that back then, you know, it could have, you know, it would have been an advantage to us as grown men today?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's a big thing. I think is missing. It's something that I definitely was missing in my life. Was It was almost just overnight. Okay, you're making decisions now. You're helping to make decisions,
yeah.
and there was no guidance, no steps.
No, and that goes like even with schooling and that with my kids. You know, shucks, I don't want to get too deep into it, but like I always tell my kids, you know, like learn all the basics and that at school, you know, but mum and dad's gonna teach you life lessons
Yeah,
and that at home, you know.
different.
Like my oldest boy, he's helping out with the cooking and all of that now. So he knows when he gets his own partner and that he knows how to cook. If he doesn't have money and he can't go out to a restaurant or whatever it is, he knows how to cook. You know, stuff like that.
No, I loved it. I loved it. So you were talking about harping on about yourself, and then you spoke about good qualities that you have. That's something that we struggle with as
Yeah.
Polynesians to speak upon the good qualities. How are you changing that mindset within your kids? Like, if you're good at something, then talk about it.
Yeah, and I think it's just speaking up, you know, like letting my kids have a voice and that, and like if I had a voice when I was a kid, man, I would be different today. You know, I guarantee you, I'll be something like an actor or you know, at least on TV or something like that if I had the chance, you know.
Yeah,
But and I don't want my kids to shy away from, you know, anything that's positive. You know, if my son says that, man, I know how to tie the best knot, then I'm gonna praise him and say, man, go on, you know, if you want to tie knots, you know, go be the man, tie knots, you know.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna say like, oh, you know, son, everyone does knots. You know, what's so different, you know? Oh yeah,
No, I loved it. I loved it because I was speaking to my nephew, my older brother's son, and he was talking about his
yeah,
rugby game, and he was talking about all the good things he was doing, and I said, "I'm proud of you, nephew," and he goes, "Yeah, I'm really proud of myself." And that was a
that's
big
so good.
shock to me, because you know back in the day it was like proud of you, and you're like, oh, no, I didn't really have a
Yeah,
good game.
yeah,
Yeah, it's
man,
good to
and
see our next generation getting brought up on these ways.
bro, that's such a boost in confidence as a kid, you know, not like to hear that, and it's heartwarming to know that kids are starting to embrace, you know, like what they're doing is actually good, you know, and they believe it themselves,
Absolutely,
and that's what I want for my kids as well, you know, 100%.
definitely. Yeah, but you you spoke about maybe you would be an actor right now. I don't think it's too late. Is that something? I definitely don't think it's too late. Is this something that you're striving towards? What is the vision behind the BDFS channel?
Or just laughs really, like to, like if you know who me and my family are, everything is about laughing. Like I don't want to waste one moment, you know, being sad. You know, I, I want every moment to be a laugh, and that's what I want everyone to see. You know, I want to spread that positivity. You know, yeah, I just want people to laugh. And you know, maybe acting isn't too late. You know, if I had the opportunity, you know, I would. Like, there's not too many people know I auditioned for a New Zealand film not so long ago, and that's about to be released soon too. I didn't make the cut, but it was a good experience.
Hey, putting yourself out there, man, that's a big step, you know?
Bro, 100%. You know, and that was a boost of confidence for me too. You know, to hear from professionals, you know, oh, if you do this and do that, you know, work on this and work on that, you know, and that kind of helped me bring out the best in me.
Yeah. No, I loved it. So yeah, walk us through that situation. Like, how did that come about? Were you approached on your Instagram because of your skits, or?
No, this was like right in the early stages of Instagram. Um, I saw an ad and it said New Zealand feature film on New Zealand gangs. Um, they were looking for a certain person, so I auditioned for it. They liked what they saw. They told me to come back for a second one, and I actually got to meet the the, the big people behind on the second uh, audition, and like just understanding their mindset and what they want to see and what they want you to portray, bro, it was like just like buckets full of you know, like what do you call it, like they were just giving out so much information that I needed to
Yeah,
absorb,
it's good
kind of thing.
feedback and good work ones.
Yeah, yeah. And so I done the second audition, and they said, man, we want you back for the third one, and we'll get into something more deeper and stuff like that. And so I came back for the third one, and then yeah, they pretty much said, "Oh, you know, it's not quite what we're looking for, blah blah blah, but then keep it up," kind of thing. And I was like,
Yeah,
"Oh, yo," like that kind of like made me want to step out of my comfort zone even more, you know,
Yeah,
like experiencing things like that.
yeah, definitely. It sounds to me that you're the type to take on those things as constructive criticism and actually work on those.
Oh, I love it, man. I
Yeah.
love it.
So from that time, so was this a while ago?
Um, this would have been about
Okay, so
a year ago.
from that time till now, have you worked on those things, and do you think if another opportunity arose, would you go for it?
Yeah, for sure, 100%. And like, I try and do it like throughout my skits in there too. Like, try and
Yeah,
make everything as real as possible, stuff like that. But yeah,
no, I loved it because that's another thing that I wish for us as a people is even showing up to the interview for a major job, even showing up for an audition. That's a big step for us because we're so down on ourselves. We feel inadequate in these situations.
yeah, 100%. You know, because all of this is all new to us. You know, and it's like you were saying before. There's no manual, you know, to us learning this stuff. You know, it's kind of learn along the way kind of
Yeah.
stuff. You know, we were never given the reins, you know, as kids, so we kind of learn as we go. And man, if we were given the opportunity, man, the like the amount of young people today that would benefit from doing that, or it's huge.
So with tough times, I, I really I think that we struggle with as Polynesians. I'm happy it's getting more out there, but
Yeah,
mental health is something that we really struggle with. It's now that I'm like maturing and I think about it as like as a football player, you know, if you're constantly throwing your body at something, eventually your body wears down, right?
yeah,
So as Polynesians, we face so many things that are hardships,
yeah.
trials, the struggles of being a Polynesian, and it's crazy that we can't talk about the wearing down of our minds, the things that we go through.
Bro, if I told my parents at the age of 10, you know, about depression, that, you know, they'll turn to me and goes, yeah, I like depression. Yeah, get, you know
Absolutely,
what I mean?
man. Yeah, 100.
Take take your depression and stick it on the rubbish. Yeah, come and do, you know,
Yeah,
we're never given the chance to express how we felt, you know. After getting a hiding, you know, you can't go to your dad and goes, you know what, dad, I didn't really like the way you treated me back then,
oh
or
man.
you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100. They'll be like, what? So, feel
Yeah,
good?
okay. Okay, give me the belt again. Come for round two. But yeah, it's. I'm so glad that it's changing today. You know, it's not where we want it to be, but it's a start. And man, it's hard. Like coming from like what I had. You know, I have no problem with my upbringing, but I can't say to my kids that I want the same for them, you know, but I want to instill the same values, but that rough upbringing, I don't want for them, you know, because growing up like that, like you were saying, it weighs down heavy on our minds, you know, and like us only noticing today that this is what we should be protecting more than, you know, these big shoulders, you know, so to speak.
No, 100%. Um, I'm really grateful for our people becoming more aware of it because that was the biggest thing. It was like, maybe I'm just ungrateful. Maybe I deserve, um, not even deserve, but you think, yeah, I really deserve their hiding. and
yeah,
it just you kind of walk away from the fact that those things are not normal.
yeah. But like I always look at it like when I look at my old man, you know, I look at him and I think, well, he wasn't to know any better because that's how his old man treated him, you know, and that's how my great grandfather treated my grandfather, you know. So it was like a cycle,
Yeah,
you know, and there was no one there to say, you know, if you show your children not to do it, you know, instead of just telling them, you know, the outcome can be different. There was none of that back then. So, but I'm glad that it's changing now, like for our generation.
yeah, 100%. And as much as I'm grateful for technology and all these and cars, and the greatest thing that I'm grateful for the westernized to live in a westernized society is my father learning
Yeah,
that those behaviors they're not okay.
yeah,
Yeah, there was because my father was like that. You know, it was rule the household as first, you know, sort of mentality.
bro, 100%.
Yeah,
And you know, and that's like a lot of us, including myself. You know, my old man loved his alcohol. My, you know, he was raised in a tough upbringing. You know, and that's all he knew. You know, and but when he sees his grandkids now and how we uh, bring up our kids, you know, like sometimes I catch my old man just crying, you know, and saying, you know, I wish I had that for you, son. You know, I never did that with you guys, you know, and but I always tell him, but we have it now,
yeah,
you know, we're here now,
yeah,
and you know, look look how good we're living, you know, we're past that, you know, and he sees it and he's happy, you know.
yeah. Different. So, has it ever been in a time in your life where you know maybe things were just too much, and you know things got too difficult to deal with? Did you ever go through a stage of in life like that, or
No, not really, because like I was saying before, you know, we never had time to say, oh, you know what, I'm just going to go and get a rope, you know, you know what I mean?
yeah, yeah,
Because that wasn't part of our what do you call it? I wouldn't say upbringing, but like your parents never gave you the time to kind of to do that kind of thing. You know, they as bad as it was, you know, it kind of never went that far, which is like, and I can only speak for myself
yeah? No,
when I
definitely.
say this, um, and I'm glad it never went that far. You know, like yeah, times were hard, but I always knew that they loved me and that there was a reason behind it. You know, whether I didn't understand at the time, you know, I always knew that you know my parents had the best interest for me. So
No, definitely, definitely. No, I love that your father is now coming to the realization that you know things things can change. Hey, so
yeah,
he's doing things with the grandchildren that he never did with you.
yeah, and you know, I'd rather him have that time with his grandkids now than with us, really, because you know that's all you want is you want your like because my grandparents passed away when I was a kid, and you know I want my kids to have as much memories as they can with my old man, you know, and you know I want them to be able to grow up knowing him, you know, uh, this to him now, you
Yeah,
know.
yes. I always laugh at you because when I was back home, my sisters were in the house and they had their kids with them, and I just laugh to see him like sitting on the couch and you know enjoying these
Yeah,
moments with his nephew, and I was like, oh, where was this?
Yeah.
That's like,
100%. But, you know, people always ask that question, like, you know, and I hear it from my mates as well. And they always, like, I always hear them in the conversation. They say, man, you guys are lucky that you've got dad now and you didn't have dad back then.
yeah,
And I guess it's a godsend that, you know, grandkids, you know, change, you know, that man.
yeah,
You know?
definitely. That's one of my biggest beliefs is that God changes people.
Yeah.
He helps change people who want to be changed. Yeah,
Yeah, 100%.
yeah,
100%.
yeah. No, I love hearing about people's upbringings and people's um because how they say it takes a village to raise a child, and I love to hear about the village that raises people and see the inside of what makes a person who they are.
Well, and that's what society struggles to see with Polynesians, you know, and you see it all the time, you know, like you hear people say, "Oh, when you marry my sister, you marry the whole family,"
Yeah,
you know, and that's just how it is with us
yeah,
Polynesians, you know, um, and yeah, society today struggles to see that, you know, it takes a village to raise a child, you know,
yeah,
and they
definitely,
kind of they don't understand that, you know.
absolutely. So I forgot to ask Riggs, but I want to. It's a question I'm supposed to ask every. I wanted to ask every guest. When when you hear soul food, what does that? What comes to your mind?
Uh, Pacific,
Pacific.
yeah,
Yeah.
like
So what would be like a Sunday gongai or feast for your house? Something that comes to mind.
man, when my old lady was here, man, it was chop suey, um, what do you call it, corned beef, galo, uh, boil up even,
Yeah.
um, you know, pork, curries, salads, potato salad, bro, the works, man.
Yeah.
You know, like you know, like it's funny you say that because you know when mum cooks, you know, she cooks enough for leftovers for the next
Oh, absolutely.
3, 4 nights. You know what I
Hard,
mean?
hard, hard, hard.
And and that's what I love about that. You know, and it's good.
No, I loved it because yeah, that was when I was thinking about like what to name the podcast. I was like, no, I have no idea about this game, eh? Like, what should I do? And I was thinking about my mom cooking a big feed and us sitting
Yeah,
at the table and having a conversation because you know we all have those conversations when we're with our family, and
or hard up.
that's something that I want to eventually get to that point where I'm doing these podcasts live and we're just having like a feast and having a
Oh,
conversation
yo,
about
yo.
life and just anything
Yeah,
really. Like
yeah,
yeah, I don't want it to be a formal interview, just us chilling and eating. Like you know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah, bro. Hard up. And it's good that Polynesians are doing this, you know, because this is out of
No,
our normal.
100%.
You know what I mean? And like you were
100%.
saying before, um, talking about yourself, you know, that's hard for us, like you were saying. So this platform doing podcasts is probably the best thing for us because we always have the most to say, you know
Yeah,
what I mean?
absolutely.
And I feel like people need to catch up with our world to understand us more, you know?
100%. And that's something that cause like you know when you think about or talk about a drink up, people like people make fun or make jokes about was it a big fight or something
Yeah,
like that. But in my mind, I'm thinking about me and my boys, me and my close friends. Like we really have deep discussions about life and what
Right.
we're aspiring to be. Like that's a real gathering, a drink up. Like it's not
Right.
nothing to do with the fights or what's
Yeah.
going, what we see on the phones, and that's what I
Right.
want to bring.
100%.
Yeah,
And like for me, that's over my drinking years, that's kind of changed. Before it was like that, scraps and girls and stuff like that. But as you get older, these conversations start to get more deeper and meaningful, and the vision changes. Like especially like when you have kids, all your all your dreams and that kind of put it on hold, and it's focused on your kids and stuff like that. And when you talk to your mates, about kid stuff, you wouldn't see yourself talking about, um, oh yeah, I watched this kids program the other day and blah blah. And goes, oh yeah, I watched that too, and yeah, it's good for your
yeah,
kids and blah blah. And so it's good how the what do you call it? The stories changed, at drink ups.
yeah. Absolutely, and that's the sort of drink ups that I love to be with my close friends. Us talking about life and real things that are
Yeah,
affecting us as a community of Polynesians. Not
yeah,
yeah. That's the sort of thing, the vibe that I want to bring to the platform is us just jumping on and talking about things that we talk about behind closed doors.
oh, 100%. Because there's a lot of you know unspoken things that you just don't talk about in Polynesian communities, so to speak. Like yeah, like there's heaps, and the more we bring it out, I reckon the more people would understand, where we're coming from, and why why we weren't allowed to go to camps, or why we weren't allowed to have friends over, and why we weren't, you know, um, sorry, I can't play on Sundays, things like that.
Yeah, 100%. And that's the biggest thing. I don't want. I'm not here to justify our actions. I'm here to explain who we are.
Exactly.
Of
Yeah.
course, of course, there's things that we need to fix as a community, but
Yeah.
there's reasons behind those things. It's not just us wanting to incite violence and things of that nature.
Yeah. And that's one thing that, like, looking on the inside out, is that people always see us as, um, you know, sports players. Oh, he'll be a good rugby player when he grows up. What if I want to be, into drama? You
Absolutely,
know, what if I wanted to, be something more than a sports player, something more than a musician? Because we grew up through the church, playing in the church band, or stuff like that. Maybe I want to be something, out of the different for a Polynesian.
100%. So with that, speaking about that, is that something that you're instilling in your kids? Like, son, if you don't
Or
want to play rugby, then we'll do something else.
man, my kids love swimming. You know,
Yeah,
I try to introduce to them league. You know,
yeah,
but they never liked it. So I said, "Oh, sweet, what do you want to do?" "Dad, I want to swim." I said, "Bro, let's go swimming." So I signed them up for swimming lessons. You know, the other day my son came home with a permission slip if he could play hockey at school. What Polynesian plays hockey?
yeah, absolutely.
My son does.
But like, if we look in life, like, we're, we're everywhere. We're just not showing everywhere. We're showing in mainstream media as sports players or and things like that. And
That's it.
that's what I want to use this platform for. Like, really, if you're listening and you're doing law, you're doing things outside of the box,
Yeah.
and you're a Polynesian, please, I want to hear from you. I want to like talk to you
Right.
about projecting
And
these things.
not only that, if you're following these individuals that are doing that, man, put them on blast.
Yeah,
You know,
100.
I, like I am sick of seeing our own people put down our own people. And that's something that needs to change. definitely, because like at one stage I wanted to be, like, and I'm happy for Flex that he started up a podcast. I was gonna start up a podcast, but you know what I'm trying to
Yeah.
get at?
Yeah.
Like I want to be happy for you, or like, oh, he's got 5,000 followers. I've only got 2, but I do way better skits than him.
Yeah.
Man, can we just be happy, that he's happy
100%.
instead of trying to bring us down? Like this guy is promoting Pacific, Polynesians, Tokos, Usos, Tanganis. He's blasting our Pacific nations out there. So let's just be happy for him.
100%. And that's something that I really want us to do, is to change, is the mindset. It's like there's enough of us now. If we all supported each other, more doors will open, more
100%.
opportunities will come. And instead of working against each other, if we were to collab on things, like if you're a skit maker, collab with another skit maker, like more things can come of that than what we're doing right now, to be honest.
Yeah, bro. And another thing was social media. Like a lot of us take social media like so real, like it's, like almost like it's Bible.
Yeah.
And like even with like followers and stuff like that, people look at it like, man, this guy's got such a massive following. I want that. But and like what they tend to do is take the focus off themselves and put it on them and say, I want what he's got. I want her. I want that. I want that. I want that. But if he had focused on, all right, he's got that. I want to get to that. What do I need to do to get to that? And start focusing on your own footpath to lead up to get to that.
Yeah.
We always tend to focus on what everybody else has got instead of focusing on ourselves and, head down, ass up kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's also something that I've learned from you today, is like, it's all inward, It's not. It's like if someone's projecting something, take something positive from that comment. It's like, maybe I should work on this and then implement it into my skits.
Yeah, 100%, bro. Like, so like, even with this new music that's out today, I see a lot of guys coming up, and then I read through the comments, and it's like just negative, man. I said, like, instead of just writing negative stuff, if you don't like it, then just don't listen to it. As simple as that.
100%.
It's a lot easier than just writing a story saying how much you hate it.
100%. And but like, I picture one day when we all support each other, and it's like, there's just so much that's gonna happen from it. I guarantee you.
Or like, you kind of wonder why, like nations like China are so up there. Is because when one makes it, like they kind of all make it, kind of thing. And they bring each other up, kind of thing. And that's where I kind of want to get the Pacific nation at. That's where I would love for it to be at.
100%.
If one makes it, bro, we all make it. Like for instance, The Rock. When The Rock put Samoa on the map on one of his movies,
Yeah.
bro, that was like a proud moment for me. But then you hear people say, bro, he doesn't even speak Samoan properly.
Oh, man.
Can you not see the good
Absolutely.
in what he just did?
But now flip it. If he denounced that his side of his Samoan side, he didn't play to it. Oh, he's betraying us.
Yeah.
So it's just
lose situation, eh?
What do you do?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Like, I think it's up to us, like people like you and me, to change the stigma on society, on on how we hold ourselves. You know,
Definitely.
like we need to change that about Polynesians. You know.
Yeah. And yeah, it's just like it's sad because honestly, in my heart and in my mind, when I see you doing your skits, that's a form of winning, and like I want more of that. You know, like I desire for more of that, more of our people winning and being
Or
successful in things. Like I definitely have that mindset. Like if he's winning, I can do it too, or I'm with that guy because I relate to him or her.
yeah,
Definitely.
or 100%. Like it's funny that you said it because I didn't know how important. Like I thought doing these skits was just for laughs.
Yeah.
You know? But it's not until you get the message, like, oh, you don't know how much that video meant to me. Like, you don't know what I went through today. Like, I was about to end it. And then I watched your video and it was like, bro, that was so funny. It brought life into me. When you get messages like that, it's like, bro, this is more than just laughs. It's, and yeah, bro, that's part of the reason why you keep doing it.
Yeah. That's wow, that's powerful, man. 'Cause like I said before, yeah, I'm definitely on that same boat. Like, have a rough day, come home, and then you're thinking about you want to go and bingy that customer that
Yeah,
you're dealing with,
100%.
and then you just watch these videos and you transport to a different place.
Yeah.
You
See,
forget about their situation.
it's powerful, bro. Like I myself didn't even know. I thought it was, bro, just do it for laughs. Shits and giggles. But to other people, bro, it's more. Eh?
Yeah, look, honestly, I take my hat off to you and to all those who are putting themselves out there in that way, because I definitely I can appreciate just from watching this like the amount of work and effort that it takes to put this all together.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, even like yourself, Lex. Like, was there any doubt in your mind about starting up this podcast?
Oh man, if you only knew, brother, I almost
Yeah,
pulled the plug. I almost pulled the
yeah,
plug. I was like, I just keep thinking like, hey, who the heck are you? Like, you're
yeah,
no one. Like, what are you gonna do with this podcast? And so,
yeah,
like that's why I reached out to you in that way because that's how I literally felt. Like, oh, like I'm really sorry to bother you, but like,
yeah, yeah,
actually to jump on a podcast, like that's how I genuinely felt. And then
yeah,
when you said like, oh, no one's a stranger, that's us. That really
yeah.
like took me back because like I was really humbled to be honest with your response.
Bro, because I've been there. Because when I first started, I saw like the Gerard, right?
Yeah,
The HHOD boys,
yeah,
Johnny Tuivasa,
yeah,
they were already doing this, and I felt the same. Like, who am I? It's too late to start because they're already
yeah,
doing it. You know,
100%.
but then my wife told me just focus on you. Not everybody's humor is the same. Maybe you can bring something different to the table. Or and just that alone just made me go, oh yeah, sweet. I'll do that. Maybe someone will see the different side of my side of comedy. You know, and then
Definitely.
I just ran with it. But if I had kept focusing, on them, I would never have started what I've done.
Yeah,
You know? And it's the
definitely.
same for you. If you had kept focusing, on like, oh man, who am I? Who am I? Your idea will still be sitting on the shelf.
100%.
And
But
that's what we need to get away from as Polynesians. We've got all these ideas, and they're awesome ideas, but we just leave them on the shelf because there's always that doubt in our heads. Who are we?
Yeah,
Who are we?
definitely.
You know, we're small pawns in a
Yeah,
small fish in a big pond kind
yeah.
of thing.
No, 100% understand that mentality. But like, the two things I get from that is like, first of all, shout out to your wife for supporting you in the early stages of that, because you know, I know as a follower of yours, we're grateful for the content, grateful for your time.
Appreciate it.
And
Appreciate it, man.
second is like you said, um, people have already done it, so like, oh, maybe I shouldn't. I just feel like we as Polynesians need to start thinking there's enough seats at the table, man. It's like we hear someone, we hear someone, we hear a rapper come out, and we hear another rapper come out. They're like, oh, what is this guy trying to be like? It's
Yeah,
like there's seats at the table. We really need to
bro.
realize that.
Hard out, bro. It's almost like as it's gonna run out, kind of thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but we're taking the seats out for like ourselves. We're not. No one's taking.
Yeah.
We're pulling the seats.
Yeah. 100%, bro. And like you said, man, there's plenty of seats at the table, man. We need to start encouraging people. Like, when people ask me, oh, also I want to get into this, well,
Yeah,
I'll give them as much information as I can, to try and get them started, because I know how it is to try and start off something, and it's not just starting the platform, it's the confidence, like, I'm sure you can appreciate how I came back to your message, you know, as opposed to if I said, "Oh, nah, I'm busy."
oh, that's
Sorry.
what I was expecting that. Like, oh, sorry, Luce, I've got things going on. Yeah,
Yeah,
that was a major confidence booster, definitely.
and we need to change that. Like, you know, start realizing that there is enough seats at the table, and let's get everyone on the table. You know.
100%. Yeah, and so like I wanted to ask you there, like for those who haven't reached out or like feel they may want to reach out, what advice would you give to them in starting a platform, starting either skits or music or what advice would you give to them?
And everyone that inspires you, they all started somewhere,
Yeah,
right? No one jumps straight to the king, right? You got to start somewhere, man. And your journey is just the same as theirs. They started from 0 and they went to 10. You got to start from 0 and go to 10 as well, you know. But don't be shy, man. There's like we were been talking about earlier. There's enough seats at the table, you know. Like if you've got an idea, man, just put it on blast. Don't shy away from it. Like I'm pretty sure there's like so many Polynesians out there that have that one idea that can crack it, you know, and whatever industry it is, or whatever platform it is, but it's like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know about this, there's that self-doubt, but I guarantee you, you know, you're going to get a better answer if you put it out there than to leave it on the shelf.
100%. No, I loved it. Definitely, definitely getting it started is something that is difficult for anyone, right? And so, like
Yeah.
when we hear people like yourself who have made a start and are on their way, speak about those things, I know for myself, I take it into account.
Yeah. And also for guys that are already there, man, help 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 somebody out. If somebody's reaching out, please like don't shy away from them, because you know how hard it is as Pacific Islanders to step outside of their comfort zone to try something that they think will better something, you know.
Yeah,
So it takes a lot of courage for them to come out and actually ask, or you know because I know that's one thing that we're bad at is asking for help.
Yeah,
You know?
absolutely, absolutely.
But we need help. Like everyone, I need help. Even the guy at the top needs help. We all need help. So let's just all help each other.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, in starting this platform, I definitely don't take credit for getting it started. I definitely have had a lot of help. Like Mocha, she's helped me a lot. The sis, and Yupu helped me with like developing that video that you saw.
Nice. Yeah.
And
So that was a bad video, man.
yeah, Yupu helped me a lot. He's from Brisbane. Another one. I reached out to him via Instagram. It's like, "Oos, I see your content. Um, would would you be able to help me with this?" And
Yeah.
honestly, he was like, he was just can't help, but like he was fully supportive, and that was something that really took me back. Is like it really shocks me when we do because we're not familiar with it, right? Like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, definitely, I want to help you do this and that, and I was like, I was super grateful. So shout out to Yopu in Brisbane if you're hearing this.
Charles. Nice.
Yeah, man. And
Man,
definitely just support, yeah. Support, family support. Grateful for my family and grateful to my friends and their support.
well, because so much positivity can come, from something small like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
And like, what? Oh man, I could go on and on about this, but like, there's so many benefits that can come from helping. Like it makes you happy. It makes the other person happy. Everyone's happy on board. That's happy. Your content that you're gonna put out. Someone needs to hear it. You
Yeah.
know, you just don't know, but
Yeah.
it's all positivity.
That's something that I wish for all of us Polynesians to know is that we all have something great to offer society in some
Yeah,
shape or form. We're just built that way. We have something to offer the world.
yeah, 100%. And I think if we take out the number one, uh, I think if there was no first, second, or third,
Yeah.
right? If we take that out of the equation, kind of thing, and we just focus on each other,
Yeah.
or bring like it's better that we come up as a nation instead of just one person, if you know what I mean.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, like I said, there's enough of us around. If we really supported each other in everything that we did, if we saw someone making moves and we supported them, just
Yeah,
the things that can happen from that are far greater than what's going on right now.
or 100%.
But like before we finish, like what's something that you want a stigma or mentality that you want to change about how people see us?
Um, I'll give you a story, bro.
Yeah, bro. Hold up.
Um, so one of my sons, he's in kindergarten, and I'm walking my son to school, and I'm dressed in a t-shirt and shorts, right? And I'm covered in tattoos,
Yeah,
like you know,
yeah,
and I go to this like this fork where we go down where everyone meets up, and then you kind of go to the entrance.
yeah,
And this kid comes up to me and he goes, "My mum said that people with tattoos are bad people." And
yeah,
I'm like, "Where did you hear that from?" He goes, "My mum told me." And I'm like, "No, that's wrong. Your mum shouldn't be saying that." You know. And like it it hit me like as a Polynesian, like people need to teach their kids, you know, like face value,
yeah,
right? Um, just because I'm covered in tattoos, or just because you see me at the shop and the lava and jandals, right, doesn't mean that I'm poor.
Yeah.
It just means that I'm comfortable in going up to the shop, or it's because I love tattoos, or it's because I love this, you know. Stop portraying somebody as something that they're not because of what you see face value. And I feel like that's what we always get portrayed as we always get looked down upon. Like we can't bring anything to the table. There's nothing that we can do that will benefit what that person has.
Yeah.
And that's what I want to change, or what I would like to see to change.
No, I definitely hear you, brother. And that's the mission, eh? That's the mission that I'm on for this platform. Is working with the likes of yourself and all, there's so many, whether we admit it or not, as Polynesians, we want to see each other win. We just may not know how to do that, or there's some things that we have to overcome to do that. But I know that we want to see each other win in life.
100%.
Yeah, man. No, honestly, I'm so grateful for your time, brother. I'm grateful for you putting aside this time to have this talk, because I've learned so much in this conversation with you. Obviously, like I said before, I don't know you personally, before this conversation.
Yeah.
So for you to just put yourself out there and be like, you know what, I'll go on the platform for this guy, and that means a lot to me, honestly, because this is not for me. This is for the people. This is for our people, our platform. Like, I want us to feel all included in this, to have a voice. Now I'm grateful for you voicing the things that you voiced, because someone out there is going to benefit from this, and that's what makes me happy in my mind when I'm like editing and putting these things together. It's like someone out there is going to benefit from this.
Oh, 100%, Nils. And I agree with everything that you're pushing forward with this platform. And like you said, our people need to hear, or people need to hear our perspective on us. So yeah, I truly appreciate the opportunity for having me in, and I'm glad you did reach out, because like you were saying, this benefits me as well, because it helps me with, like, I don't know you from a bar of soap, like you said, but it helps me interact, and I love it.
Yeah, definitely. Is there anyone that you want to give a shout out to before we finish?
Bro, shout out to you also, man, for taking your idea off the shelf and for doing it, man. Bro, like, I know how much it takes, confidence-wise, and I appreciate you, and I appreciate all the Polynesians out there that are trying to make something for themselves, and that are taking their ideas off the shelf and running with it. Because you just never know. You don't get too caught up on your thoughts. Just chuck it out there and then see what happens. You just never know.
Absolutely. And shout out to everyone that's in the process of making moves, maybe not putting it out there on the ground, but you're making moves behind closed doors. I'm with you. Obviously, Cam's with you. The other Polynesians who want to see each other win, we're with you. And thank you so much, Uzo.
No worries, also. Appreciate you, man.
No worries.
She a wanna keep me focusing. Bad girl with that chicken is energy. She a propose me in